I don't know if you'd agree with me on this, but in many ways, one of the key factors to legendary success isn't your natural ability. It's not whether you have the right product. It's not whether you're in the right field. It's not whether you've had a blessed background. It's not whether you have the right IQ. I want you to really think about and deconstruct and play with, maybe later tonight in your journal. I want you to deconstruct this idea of confidence. And it seems like a very simple word, but just think about it in your own life. When you have confidence, or we could even call it fire, when you have that fire within you, that confidence, that interior bravery, you almost have this power to do whatever it takes to get your brave vision done. You see, in this world, it's not about, in many ways, your strategy in your business or your ability in your life. It's about this thing called confidence. And we have all had these times in our lives when we are full of confidence. And what other people see as a problem, we simply do see as an opportunity. Other people see it as a stumbling block or a wall, and we see it as a stepping stone or this solution. And so confidence is something that you really want to wire in. Confidence is something you really want to develop. Confidence is a practice. Confidence is a muscle. And like any muscle, the more you focus on it and practice it and train it, the stronger your confidence is going to grow. And I just have to say it again. When you are at a place in your life when there is an ongoing, steady stream of confidence moving through your mindset, moving through your heart set, you do the heroic in your business and you achieve the remarkable in your life.
Reading is the strongest signal for success in the future that I've ever seen. It is the strongest. I got my first job in radio when I was 16 years old, because I've been broadcasting since I was 16 years old. But my first job I got because I was a great reader. When you are a great reader, you can articulate and speak and command the English language in ways that other people cannot. And people think you're a lot smarter than you are, lots of times, because you're a great reader. Have you ever met a person who was a great reader when they were young who was not successful? Never. It is the absolute best foundation ever in life.
Nelson Mandela is a particularly special case study in the leadership world because he is universally regarded as a great leader. You can take other personalities, and depending on the nation you go to, we have different opinions about other personalities. But Nelson Mandela, across the world, is universally regarded as a great leader. He was actually the son of a tribal chief. And he was asked one day, "How did you learn to be a great leader?" And he responded that he would go with his father to tribal meetings. And he remembers two things when his father would meet with other elders. One, they would always sit in a circle. And two, his father was always the last to speak. You will be told your whole life that you need to learn to listen. I would say that you need to learn to be the last to speak. I see it in boardrooms every day of the week. Even people who consider themselves good leaders, who may actually be decent leaders, will walk into a room and say, "Here's the problem, here's what I think, but I'm interested in your opinion, let's go around the room." It's too late. The skill to hold your opinions to yourself until everyone has spoken does two things. One, it gives everybody else the feeling that they have been heard. It gives everyone else the ability to feel that they have contributed. And two, you get the benefit of hearing what everybody else has to think before you render your opinion. The skill is really to keep your opinions to yourself. If you agree with somebody, don't nod yes. If you disagree with somebody, don't nod no. Simply sit there, take it all in, and the only thing you're allowed to do is ask questions so that you can understand what they mean and why they have the opinion that they have. You must understand from where they are speaking, why they have the opinion they have, not just what they are saying. And at the end, you will get your turn. It sounds easy, it's not. Practice being the last to speak. That's what Nelson Mandela did.
But if I could go back and you could only give me one skill to begin with and I had to build from all of it, I can tell you for sure what it would be for me. Without that skill set, the vast majority of my wealth does not exist. If you can't persuade people, if you can't influence people to make decisions that are in their own best interest, but that also grow your business, your brand, your company, your net worth, you can't ever become successful. One thing that everybody I know that's a leader in everything they do can do is persuade people. Now, I watch people do that in all different types of ways. Some do it through intimidation, some do it through force, some do it through humor, some do it through persuasive strategies, transfer of energy, you name it. But all leaders can persuade. All successful people can get people to make decisions in their own best interest that also get them to participate with their company. It's the number one skill that I see most people not spending the most time on, is their ability to communicate, their ability to persuade people. And because they're constantly trying to go to a different course, or they think that somehow if their product is good enough, or they get the right sales pitch, that somehow they're going to win. But the fact of the matter is, you've got to become a better persuader.
One of the things you would want to be sure to do is, whether you like it or not, get very comfortable, it may take a while, with public speaking, for example. I mean, that's an asset that will last you 50 or 60 years, and it's a liability if you don't like doing it and are uncomfortable doing it, that also will last you 50 or 60 years, and it's a necessary skill.
My challenge in our generation is that gradually, through entertainment, through television, through media, through every way possible, we are living in a generation of the dumbing down of ideas. Because we have traded effectiveness for busyness. Statistics say, yeah, somebody ought to clap on that. We are busier than any other generation we have seen in the last 300 to 400 years. We are so busy. We are busier than a one-arm wallpaper hanger. We're just busy. You'll get it later. Don't worry about it. It'll hit you in a minute. We are just as busy as we can be, and we think because we're busy, we're effective. But I want you to challenge your schedule for a minute and ask yourself, are you really being effective, or is your life cluttered with all kinds of stuff that demands you and drains you and taxes you and stops you from being your highest and best self? And are you substituting busyness and all the chaos that goes along with busyness from being effective? Let me tell you, a bunch of scientists got together and they began to do some research, and they began to determine that 80% of the things we do are busy things that we do in an area that is not effective, that the average person only spends 20% of their time doing the thing that they are really gifted at, created at, passionate about, excited to do, and the rest of it is all the dismal, dumb stuff that we all have to do in order to survive. Just crazy stuff that we're doing. Wonder what would happen if we would go from doing 80% of things that are busy but not effective, and 20% of the things that are really effective, if we would switch those numbers around and only give 20% of our time to the things that we have to do and 80% of our time to the thing that we were created to do. Wonder what would happen to your life. Now think about it a minute. There's a lot of things you could take from me and I could make it. You could take my suit, I got another one. You could take my car, I could get another one. You could take my house, I could get another house. But when you take my time, you have taken something from me that is totally irreplaceable. We take all kind of classes for money management. We know how to manage our money. We know how to repair our houses. We're working on our hair and our bodies and all of this kind of stuff. We do everything except the most important thing is to value our time. It takes time to be creative. You were meant to be creative. You were created in the likeness and the image of a creator, and in that likeness and in that image, you have creativity. If you had time, you would be creative. But in the absence of time and with busyness and clutter and the phone ring, beep, beep, beep. You all got music playing on your phone, all kinds of stuff. And no matter what kind of song you put on it, after a while you hate to hear it, because every time you hear that sound, you know it's somebody else wanting something else from you that's taking you away from what you are gifted and creative to do.
How do you know when a business opportunity or venture is worth your time? And when do you say no when so many people would say yes in that situation?
I think too many people overvalue their time when their time is worth nothing. So, this is my favorite one. Like, I love when people are like, yo, is this worth my time? I'm like, well, and it's in a business context. I'm like, well, how much money is your business making? They're like, yo, I don't have one yet. I'm like, well, your time is worth dick zero. So I think people are audacious with their time. They're fancy before they're fancy. So everything's worth your time when you're at zero. You may bail. I'm a big believer of I'm in yes culture. My whole game is yes, comma. I'm not a great person to ask the no thing. I think there's people that are more disciplined at no. I just like the value of yes. And then if I'm a week, an hour, a year in, and I've realized it's not right, I leave. I bail. Because I'm not worried about the loss, because I'm not hearing anybody's opinions. I think you get context. You know, the reason I like starting up and stopping businesses is because I like the context. Like right now, I'm super hot on this thesis that sports trading cards are about to explode again. So I'm spending an ungodly amount of, I spent 4.5 hours looking at qualitative data and quant data on eBay around Giannis rookie cards from Prism graded PSA 10. 4.5 hours. I don't have like 3 minutes for people that are running like $10 million businesses for me. So I like saying yes because I know I'm learning things, and then if I decide it's not worth it, I'll bounce. So a couple things I would tell you is, one, we need less audacity, right? And we need more tasting. And so, and I know when it's time to say no after I've said yes and realized after tasting it, it's no. You know how many people hate oysters but have never had one? That's how I think about that question.
The way we ran our business, it was just like lean and mean. You invest in your product, you invest in your customers, you invest in your people. And you know, we had open offices, you don't need fancy stuff. They immediately came down and just redid all the furniture in purple and gold. I'm like, it's cool, that's my high school's colors, you know? But why are we spending this money? Got a whole new office, a whole new building. You know, I'm just like, why are we spending this money? And you know.
Yeah, well, one of the ways. So the pivot is.
Moral of the story is, spend money. Okay, so while we're talking entrepreneurs,
Reggie knows how to spend money the right way.
Or not to spend it, right?
Right.
Yep. So one of the things in my rules, right, when I look at companies to invest in, if someone walks in with swag. Here's my coffee mug with my logo. Here's your t-shirt with my logo. I don't see anybody wearing a t-shirt with a startup's logo. Do you? No. Would you wear some other startup's logo polo shirt? Hell no. Hell no, right? It's just a waste of money. You know, put your money where you're able to differentiate yourself and add value that separates yourself so you can get ahead. Don't waste it.
So I have this thing that I've been promoting called No Whining Wednesdays. Wednesday, you cannot whine, complain, or criticize. And people are like, well, what is whining? Whatever you think it is, don't do it. And every time you do it, you have to put a quarter in a jar. If you whine about anything, I can't, I'm tired, why don't you, what have me? Every one of them will cost you a quarter. Or complaining, why do you always, how come you, they never, cost you a quarter. Then last week I had people send me pictures of their jars of quarters. Oh my God. But what they said to me also was, this was wonderful. because I was never ever aware of how much whining and complaining and criticizing I do. Now I've got mothers doing it with their children. So Wednesday is No Whining Wednesday. We need to practice that. We need to stop whining about what isn't happening, what we don't have, what we can't do, what somebody didn't do. We got to get it clean in 2014. No whining, no complaining, no criticizing.
I think the idea of knocking on doors, you know, talking to people, like these are the skills that are not taught in the schools. This is what goes back to your question about the school system failing. The required skills, I need a client. Like if you simplify, the thing that people like about what we do is we simplify the business process. I need to make a contact. How can I do that? Like how can I just simply, if I'm a cameraman and I want more work, you know, how do I knock on a door or make a phone call, get in front of someone?
So hard.
Impress them. You know, if I go to Harrods right here, I'll see how many people don't have that skill. I walk in, I don't even get a hello. You know, I don't get hello. How you doing? Great to have you here. Appreciate you being here. It's so nice for you to drop by. Thanks for coming into Cartier. I mean, it's a $3 million ring over there. I went in there the other day. I can't even get anybody to show me anything. I'm like, how much is the ring? You know, they kind of look at me, right? Can you show it to me? Do you mind showing it to me? He showed it to me, told me how much it was, and I leave. He didn't show me a second ring, a third ring, a fourth ring. So those are the skills that people need, right? How do I interact with people?
Communicate.
Yeah.